Ako urong dito, and I said I would stake my honor, my life, and even the presidency.
Hukong ng pagbabago, hukong ng pagbabago, pag-asenso, hukong ng pagbabago, hukong ng pagbabago, katawan ang nasayo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Sawa na ang bayan ko sa magnanakaw na tao. Madilim na kahapon, ikaw ang mag-aahon. Sa piling mo.
Once again, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Everyone please be seated.
Tayo na, Pilipinas. Tayo na magbago.
Please be seated.
Kamay tayo para sa
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Today we are celebrating the 9th anniversary of the Mindanao Development Authority, or MINDA, and the 25th anniversary of the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines East ASEAN Growth Area, or BIMP IAGA. And to officially start the program, let us watch a video entitled Minda at 9 in the pursuit of whole of Mindanao and Palawan approach. Let's all put our attention to the screen.
I've always been a firm believer in Mindanao's great potential. As long as it has the right infrastructure and a sound business environment, Mindanao's abundant resources and hardworking and dynamic people have the capacity to contribute even more to our country's growth and development.
In his 10-point socio-economic agenda, President Rodrigo Duterte envisioned the reduction of poverty from 21.6% in 2015 to 13 to 15% by 2022. Among the reforms that will drive this agenda is the acceleration of infrastructure and the development of industries that will yield robust growth across the archipelago, create jobs, and uplift the lives of Filipinos. The key to achieving this development agenda is Mindanao. In 2017, it posted a robust growth of 7.1% higher than the 6.4% growth rate the previous year. While Mindanao's economic performance in the past years has been encouraging, we know that there is so much more that can be achieved for this island region if its people are to reap the benefits of development widely and equitably. In 2017 alone, 3 regions in Mindanao, DAVAO, Sorsogon, and ARMM, have recorded economic growth higher than both the national capital region and the national totals. To complement and sustain this progress, MINDA is pursuing the Mindanao Development Corridor Strategy as a framework to identify and prioritize interregional and high-impact infrastructure and connectivity projects in Mindanao. At the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit last year, the President identified the corridor's approach for encouraging development, especially in areas that are lagging behind. The strategy is being used in the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area or BIMP-IAGA, where Mindanao and Palawan are part of the Greater Sulawesi Economic Corridor. Internally, we use the same approach in Mindanao as the framework for integrating and ensuring transport interconnectivity, investment promotion, innovation, logistics support, industry development, and environmental integrity. The strategy also ensures integrated, harmonized, and coordinated planning and programming through the Joint Planning and Programming or JPP approach. Government agencies such as DPWH, DPWH-ARMM, NEDA, RPDO-ARMM, and MINDA jointly review, endorse, and facilitate inclusion in the National Investment Budget interconnectivity projects like roads, bridges, ports, and airports. The same is being done for tourism infrastructure with DOT and TIEZA, agriculture with DA, and ecozone development with PEZA. Anchored on this corridor's approach, MINDA has identified 12 catalytic projects that are seen to not only set up the physical infrastructure, but also serve as the engine for more economic activities across Mindanao and bring development closer to the far-flung communities. At the forefront of these projects is the Trans-Mindanao High-Speed Railway System, a long-time dream of Mindanao, which shall be complemented by a massive push for reliable and sustainable power to achieve the 3,000 megawatts requirement of Mindanao by 2030. The establishment of the Tawi-Tawi Integrated Seaport and Economic Zone is another major catalytic investment that supports Mindanao and Philippines' bid to become a stronger player in the BIMP-IAGA and ASEAN communities. Consequently, to influence transformation of other Mindanao regions through agriculture, we are also pushing for the establishment of agroeconomic ecozones, as well as the establishment of the Picong Freeport and Ecozone. In all of this, strengthened institutions, partnerships, and networks at the national, subnational, and local levels will be the foundation for an integrated and globally competitive Mindanao. While MINDA's journey towards performing these tasks has acquired momentum under the new and assertive administration, the Mindanao challenge still looms. With the apparent regional disparity in terms of national roads paved, average income, poverty rate, malnutrition rate, and project prioritization, Mindanao, touted as the country's gateway to the BIMP-IAGA and ASEAN, still has a lot of catching up to do. This is why MINDA and the Mindanao Affairs Committee is rigorously advocating for a responsive Mindanao budget to finance and accelerate its inclusive and sustainable development. The increased budget will be used to fund the 12 catalytic projects identified and proposed by MINDA. In line with the President's policy of localizing project implementation of strategic projects in Mindanao, it is further recommended to enhance Minda's capability for the implementation of these projects, particularly the Mindanao Railway System. Adhering to the Duterte administration's promise of development that is felt by all, we need to make sure that nobody gets left behind in our quest for growth. At the heart and soul of this quest is the systemic shift to federalism, the backbone for a meaningful national change and the key to achieving just and lasting peace in Mindanao.
We are one with the President in achieving this dream for the Bangsamoro people and the rest of Mindanao.
A change in administration will bring with it a change of directions. But MINDA, as a strategic planning agency for Mindanao, will continue to prioritize projects and advocacies for the sustained development of the island region to uplift quality of lives for every Mindanao.
At this point, may we call on the Chairman of Mindanao Development Authority, Secretary Datu Haji Abul Kair D. Alonto, to deliver his message and introduce our guest of honor.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most kind, the most merciful, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Mindanao Development Authority and the Minda family, we extend our warmest gratitude to our Moro brother and the first son of Mindanao to be the President of the Republic, Neo Rodrigo Duterte. We also express our sincerest appreciation to our partners in the BIMP IAGM, headed by the good ambassador of Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, as well as our partners, the Asian Development Bank, the World Bank, the European Union, and coming, hopefully, as they have canceled their flight for the realignment of the programs, the Islamic Bank, Development Bank, and the member states, some member states of the Islamic Conference, financial institutions. We are happy that we have presented to the President the program, what we have attended and what we have done the last 3 years. And there are other more that we have to do to catch up, for Mindanao to catch up. And it is by the grace of God that we also ask you, our partners, you, the leaders in the government, the leaders of Mindanao, the stakeholders, your continued unwavering support and commitment, your perseverance and patience, because this can happen and we can do this. The railway system, including what recently happened when a part of the country, in a part of the southern Philippines, where a province rejected. Now the more reason that we have to exert more efforts to keep this one Mindanao, one family, one future together. And this can happen by the grace of God, coupled with our prayers too, that He preserve His life, our leader, that can make it happen. My fellow countrymen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, Neo Rodrigo Duterte.
Kindly sit down and thank you for your courtesy. Nagbibiro lang po ako doon sa mga kasi hindi sila they cannot agree the women sa kung gaano kakapal yung powder, ma'am. Kasi sunog itong it gets better over time. But then every time I go to, especially the military camps, I have to go around. And however, how thick is the sunscreen, we get this thing going on. It recurs just overnight. So I have to contend with the part of aging. I used to have the smoothest cheek when I was young. Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Interior and Local Government Secretary Eduardo Anyo, Mindanao Development Authority Chairman Datu Abul Kahir Alonto, Presidential Spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo, Senator Cynthia Villar, the honorable members of the House of Representatives, our elected officials here with us this evening, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if it would be worth your while to listen to a two-page speech. I hope that you did not wait for me. Scheduled to be here at 5. Puntang ako sa parang gwapo ako kay architect Palafox. If I become as handsome as you, maybe things would be better for me socially. I join the men and women of the Mindanao Development Authority as they celebrate the continuing success of their mission to build a stronger and more progressive Mindanao. As the primary coordinating agency in the affairs of Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, the East ASEAN Growth Area, you have played an invaluable role in the implementation of viable socio-economic programs in the region, especially as we enter a new period of peace and development with the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. By facilitating the active involvement and participation in all relevant sectors in your initiatives, you have enabled the institutions to effective mechanisms for social-civic endeavors, launch political education campaigns, establishment of agroeconomic zones across the nation. Indeed, these efforts highlight the importance of our collaborative efforts in realizing lasting peace and sustainable growth across Mindanao. As our nation's development landscape reaches a new level of progress, I count on your unwavering commitment to contribute further in our efforts to improve our people's lives through peace and development. May this occasion foster economic cooperation that will lead to the creation of more viable opportunities in trade and investment, transportation, agribusiness, tourism, energy, environmental protection, and the management, among others, not only in the region but in the entire BIMP-IAGA corridor. Rest assured that this administration will remain resolute in building the capacity of our local government units to deliver excellent public service and promote good governance, especially in Mindanao. Together, let us pursue more progressive and inclusive strategies for growth in the region as we work towards the advancement of every Mindanaoan. Before I say my thanks, I'd like to rumble on some of the things that are to me very important in the building of nations, in the building of BIP-IAGA, and to prepare at this very late age natin we have to somehow plan a little bit ahead for the next generation. This is a troubled world. Number one, here in the Philippines, we have so many fronts to cover, interspersed with violence and talks. We had before the MILF and the MNLF. By the grace of Allah, we have reached the agreement desired by the mostly Maguindanao leadership, Murad, Jafar and company. Nor to his everlasting credit, someday he would be recognized as one statesman above just being or aside from being a revolutionary warrior. Until now, Nor has kept his silence, and I've repeatedly stressed that there will be a time when he and I will talk, and it should be soon. And as a matter of fact, any other agreement with any other revolutionary front should take place simultaneously. I have a very limited period remaining. It's just 3 years. Maybe in my younger days, I have not contributed anything to society because, well, I was not the one maybe there because it was not my time as yet. But as I grow old and I see the horizon, which is not really a very long wait from now, I will be gone. And I would like to, sinasabi ko sa military, maybe I cannot wait really for peace to travel in a very snail pace velocity. We have to work hard, and I think it should be now is now, to talk, any other time would be good to talk to Nur Miswari. And let us try to see if we can craft something more expansive in this area and giving concessions to the Moro, which is really the correct thing, and also reconfigure the territories to correct the historical injustice of their native land. There is a brewing controversy whether we came from the Malay race or from other tribes. And I would state here and now that I consider myself a Malay and nothing else. I am not one with mixed blood. I do not relish it. I am not like my children who at a distance would look Caucasians. May I like myself a native Lumad Filipino of my forebears. So it's very important that I reduce the struggle for all of us. For in the end, we cannot be fighting forever. Neither as a Moro warrior or a soldier of government. So with the NPAs, unless we somehow reduce to the barest minimum their sentiments, their hunger for justice, social justice, there will be no peace in the land. I am not saying that I am now in agreement with Season. I don't like his style, but I do not hate him. We are friends, and we can be friends. Some other time they say, I would kill for money. But since Season is my professor, I will kill him for nothing. Except that before he goes to the blue yonder, kindly find time to talk sensible peace. We have been at it 53 years. I do not think that if you have not succeeded in just about 5 years, it's a lost cause. I suggest that we do not make any demands. We go to the table and to talk about it. And if you process something which is not acceptable, and I would say, no, I cannot accept that. And if I propose something and he does not relish it, then maybe he can go back to Netherlands. If I were him, I'll just, since he is there already permanently, I would rather that he gets another 2 wives and start breeding a new family there. If there's no peace, there is no way that he can come back. I think Attorney Agkawili has sounded off. He was coming again to talk. And I told the military and the police, just allow him. For after all, it's just we are on a waiting period about the appropriate time to talk about peace. I am not that cruel. But for the drugs and the ISIS, I'd like to appeal to my Moro brothers. The ISIS mostly are Arabs. It has nothing to do with the Moro and the Christians who are in this land. We are not Arabs. We have our religious choice, and let us continue to respect it, revere to it, honor it, because it provides the moorings of our values in life, be it Christianity or Islam. We'll try to solve our own problems. We do not have to kill. We do not bomb churches. We do not kill civilians. There's nothing in the book of civilization which says that you kill innocent person, helpless women and children. So let's keep that garbage about finding fulfillment, whatever it is, in killing human beings. You know, if you allow this to go awry, and if you are not careful with your words, and you talk about reckless and all about fighting, this country can never succeed to rise and progress. Even if you give one president 5 to 10 years, no way. That's one. The second one, the law and order, which is the most important, and corruption. If we cannot stop corruption in government, forget about having a third world, fifth class republic or country or state. Corruption has really, I told you before, to a T, to the core, corruption has eaten government. I have fired several cabinet members. In every cabinet meeting, I always stress almost anything, any anong kasalanan, any wrong, it must not involve drugs. Because drug can destroy a country. It has created millions of dysfunctional families. It will erode everything. And one day, we might just find ourselves in a failed state because of narco-politics. I'd like to address the Americans. I cannot understand the workings of democracy, though we have the same document, almost the same noun, pronouns, and verbs and adjectives there. But I know this is the American society and Filipino-American society are coming over, I think, this week to talk about our relations, our friendship. But this is the only time that a head of a state, I'm referring to the previous president of the United States of America, that would, criticize, attack, and condone what his State Department is doing. But to think that as early as during the time of President Ramos, Alunan, who was the secretary of the DILG at that time, was informed by the DAA, the Department of that deals with drugs, informed the secretary, our secretary, many years ago, that look, it was relayed to Alunan. And you can ask Alunan. And as a matter, he was talking about it the other night on TV, that your country, if you're not careful, is about to fall into a narco-politics. I did not need that reminder because I was mayor here for over 23 years, and I knew the most basic sorrow and agony of the people. And drug is drugs. And we are now buffeted on both sides. We get a double whammy. The Señalosa cartel of Mexico are expanding, and the greed for money, easy money, dirty money, increases their appetite every day. And on this left side, if you look at the Philippines, your left side, your left hand is the west, your right hand is the east. On the western side, we have the Golden Triangle, also a well-known drug cartel in Asia and doing now business in the East Asian countries, prompting even the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka to say, I will follow Duterte. I will kill the bastards. Good that he has a good shining example. Because drugs, alam mo ang drugs. They say that we have killed, how many? 5,000? Make it 10,000. Make it even 20,000. So what's the bullshit son of a bitch lying there? But along the way, how many families are suffering today? Once the family, the head of a family, falls into drug, that family is dysfunctional already. If he is the breadwinner, you no longer have food on the table, the meager amounts for the children's schooling, the fares, the marketing of the wife. Unlikely, the sons and daughters, because they are not into school, would also easily for easy pick for the idiots, because one addict must get one addict to support his habit, and this goddamn idiot has to seek another weak and weak-willed and to support, and then on and then on. And not only that, they picture these drug addicts killed as if they were saints, as if they had no sin at all committed against the Filipino people. They are portrayed as victims. As victim of what? You know, guys from the human, you're a shit. You're a goddamn shit. First, find out where justice lies. It cannot be an equal while I am hunting you as a drug pusher or as a drug lord. Most likely you will die because somebody is interested to neutralize you. How about the other ones? How about the civilians? How about the children being raped? They go inside families, you know, ang droga ganito. Once they start to hit, alcohol follows. And you couldn't know them because they are talking to you, they keep on grinding the shit. As if when you are sleeping, you grind your teeth. They are eternally, that's most of the addicts have no dental health. And how many? It's the killing. It's the injustice committed by these addicts and the suppliers of drugs who create these things to happen in our country. And that is why I said when I was mayor here, it was talamak, was the word. It's widespread already. And killing people because once the monkey rides on their back and they keep on wriggling because they want the shabu, they go board jeepneys, and sometimes they kill the passengers, get their money, simply for the uppers. Then if they want a beautiful girls, just like remember in Parañaque, that subdivision there, where one of the sons of Senator Webb was accused. They killed the mother, they killed the daughters, they raped them. And when they were arrested, they were simply bangag tawag, incoherent animals. And then you say, human rights. Let us first investigate the hapless people who are not powerful enough to get security guards, who have to ride public conveyances to go home late at night, molested, disturbed, acts of lasciviousness. Let us first consider the situation. And after I have killed all of the drug pushers, maybe we can talk about the rights. I've told you before when I was mayor, I'm telling you now, if you destroy my country, my friend, I will kill you for nothing. No hatred, no none. If you keep on selling drugs, converting young people, students, destroying their lives, their future, and their brain, I don't know if I will commit a mortal sin, but I'm compelled to say it in public because it is really a classic case of drug. I hope I will not be committing. I may also say that patawad po, but since his case involves public interest, may I just say it in passing, not as a warning, who went on to the barangay halls, had their pictures taken, and TV was having a heyday. Hanggang Maynila lang yun ang probinsya wala. But I'll be liberal. Place it at 3 million. 3 million Filipinos suffering from it's a disease called a toxic one, addiction to shabu. When the brain shrinks, there is no way you can revive a blasted brain of a human being. Now, what am I supposed to do as president of this country with 3 million slaves no longer functional, almost inutil, nothing in one corner, and forever hungering for shabu? He is a slave to a drug called shabu. If he was, you can take advantage of a good brain of you can still order him to do things and he can be productive even if he's a slave. But here you live with a family that is dysfunctional, and verily it would also cause a big impact on the lives of the daughter and sons who can no longer go to school. And you want me to respond to the human rights idiots? International Court of what? Criminal court? You all can go to hell. I do not recognize your authority over me. I am a Filipino. I answer to Philippine courts. Don't fuck with me about justice. In 1912 to 1917, World War I was created by a chaos when the Duke Ferdinand of, got his title, was assassinated in Austria. And you Europeans, you killed 15 million of your own citizens. And you just forget it because it is history. International Court, Criminal Court, is not an official body created under the United Nations. It is a European creation. And there are justices and prosecutors there. Son of a bitch. You want me to face those Caucasians, white people? What's wrong with you guys? I do not even know who are the judges. In a democracy like the Philippines, we have a measure of finding out whether or not you are supposed to be there, sitting as judge, or sitting in your ass. I do not even know the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations is chaired by a cousin of the King of Jordan, an autocratic government prosecuting me. I could always say, fuck you. What's the matter, guys? I mean, Europeans, you take care of your own. You have so many problems and so many violations. You cannot even consider helping the almost helpless migrants. You allow them to be drowned. You allow children to die in the cold, freezing temperatures of Europe. Me, I am ready to accept my Muslim brothers from Inca. If they do not have a place, they can come here, and we will provide the sanctuary. We are not bigots. We have not colonized any country at all. As a matter of fact, we were victims of colonialization, subjugated for 300 more of years, and converting us into a religion with the gallows waiting for those who disobeyed. So that's the reason why. What I'm saying is, I went to rumble on this. Indonesia, Brunei, Malaysia, Philippines must come up with a cohesive plan. Set aside the religion. Because we all love God. It's Allah or the God of the school I attended to. There's no problem about our reverence. My God is the image of the one created to me while I was growing up. God has no face. I don't think that He takes the form of a general of the armed forces of the Philippines. You cannot describe God. And when you are, are you still interested to listen? As I'm going to Manila after this, and they said that, one country is interested to kill you, so be it. I welcome it with relief. That ends my story in this planet. Alam mo, if you attack me using the platform of government, you run the risk of being attacked. Ikaw, pati ang pamilya mo, pati ang gobyerno mo. In the same manner, that when you are a priest, and you use the platform, the religious platform of government, and you describe somebody as devil, as one, and as a matter of fact, raising the host, the body of Christ, they say, may Duterte die tomorrow. And when I tell them the truth that when we were young, I was a classmate of Secretary of the Finance, Secretary Dominguez, if he's here, from kindergarten to high school to college, he was a valedictorian. I don't know what happened to him. But maybe when I go to confession, the priests were playing with my balls all the time. And when I said the abuse, nobody listened to me. The Filipino never said that Duterte is really a bad mouth. Now it's in the open. The Pope himself calling for a summit for abuses. Because all the while, they were using the nuns as sex slaves. And I shouted about what happened to our generation. And the priests and the bishops, all of them, all homosexuals, were there denying the truth. And according to that article, you can read it in the writer said that 4 out of 5 of all the priests all over the world are homosexuals. Right after the Pope, who was in Dubai at that time, admitted that the priests were using the nuns as sex slaves. And using the pulpit. If you're a Filipino and you're a priest, this is what you should do. I am Rodrigo Duterte. I am a resident and a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines. I am now attacking the President for extrajudicial killing, immorality for having 2 wives. That's your goddamn business, that's it. But when you say it in a homily, you are here as a priest. Putang ina. Yayariin talaga kita. So I told everybody what happened. As a matter of fact, to this day, I'm the only politician in the history of the Philippines to say, fuck you, priests and cardinals. And that was during the election, I said. Those who wanted the criminals dead, our communities quiet, and our children can walk at night using public streets. Stay with me here. Those who do not want killing, who protect the human. Kaya itong mga durugista, they are, because there is really corruption in the police, in the judges, in the prosecutors, and all. That is why we have this problem. You push me to box me on a wall, then I will say to you, you can do it, but remember, I am there waiting, especially the Senyalosa guys, especially the Chinese connection in the triad. I will wait for you. And if I find the time, if I'm not busy, I will also decapitate you. Remember, my fellow brothers and sisters in this planet, of whatever race, religion, and creed, nobody but nobody has a monopoly of evil in this universe. If you can do it, I can do it. If I can make it worse than yours, I can do it. So lay off the Philippines. Stop your business or you die. Simple as that. No human rights. I don't give a shit. International Court of Justice, manigas na kayo, mga putang ina ninyo. Why should I submit to a foreign entity created by Europeans? EU yan. Hindi naman International Court of Justice. But if you're talking of International Criminal Court, that is a creation of the European community. That's why I said when that lady, black lady was talking around here, that she's coming to investigate me, show me to her, introduce me to her, will slap her in front of the world. You don't mess up in this country, violate our sovereignty, and you think that you are still the colonized power. You behave as if you are. Member 2, Spain stayed there for almost 400 years. The Americans stayed there for 50 years to live the fat of the land. That's why. Find me a good reason why you be lecturing to me about morality and about righteousness. So once again, this Indonesia, Malaysia, we have to band together. The world is changing, including the economy. It could go either bad or very bad, or it could go well. But we will have to go into a bad level. And I hope we can survive it. Look, God, I don't know. I love God that I am, my God, I'm willing to overlook what He has, He gave, right after the war, countries scrimping for anything that could build the country. So God gave the Arabs mostly oil, America, in the Far East, He gave it to Indonesia, Brunei, Malaysia. But God never gave it to us. And we will, maybe when you die, you will find out and ask the Lord, Lord, why thou hast forsaken my country? Every time there is an increase, everything, including the rise of the prices of the staple food, rice, the simple fish. It's more expensive sometimes to eat fish than to eat meat. It's almost a seesaw thing in this planet. But I call upon the BMP IAGA. We are doing commerce. Our navies must be vigilant. We have to be one in our patrols. But let me be very clear to the heads of states, Odisha. My orders to my Navy is to blast them off the earth. If there are pirates in our territory or in the high seas, my orders are blast them to kingdom come. Just the same. They are arrested, they go to prison, you do not have witnesses because the victims are, once they are free, they would not even wait for a minute to issue a statement, they go home because they're scared. So justice seems to be an illusion. It's a mirage actually floating in the seas. So these pirates, they have no souls, I assure you, just like me. I am telling the military forces, finish them off. And this war against the communists, we'll give ourselves if there's a progress in the talks, good. If not, at least by next year, we have finished them. Drugs, I promise you, it will stop. And some critic, a senator, a stupid senator, said, oh, they're dead, they're no more, well, because they're dead. And so, are you not happy that I'm doing it for you instead of you, a military idiot? You do not even know how to count. When you count out to the figures of foreigners, you go to America, trillions. You take on every issue. I go to Hong Kong to celebrate the birthday of my wife because that was the order of my daughter. And the order of my daughter, just like the order of the mayor here, I follow. If I'm in front of them, I'm just a sergeant. They are the generals. Really, it's very hard to deal with a daughter. The boys, well, they can take a tongue lashing or shout, shut up. But the girls, if they begin to quarrel with you cannot just shut up because the mayor would also say, you also shut up. So, what do you want me to do? You mold. No, daughters are special kind. They really control. The mother, you can, don't choke me. But my daughter says, don't move because I'm killing you. Okay. So that's what I understand is, you're paying a public servant who's just there to nitpick issues as sakit. Magkipagpustahan pa si Tatad, says, I am dying. Sir, Tatad, God damn it, you are suffering from diabetes. You're taking your frustration because you're cannot even reach the stage. Well, the rest are thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. At this juncture, may we request the President to grant a photo opportunity with the Minda officials and staff and Mindanao local government executives in 8 batches. Please come on stage as called. Let's begin with batch number 1, Minda Board of Directors. Please stand by. Batch number 2, Minda Exicom and Mancom. May we invite on stage batch number 1, Minda Board of Directors. Please stand by. Batch number 2, Minda Exicom and Mancom. Thank you very much. Now let's have batch number 2, Minda Exicom and Mancom. Please stand by. Batch number 3, Minda Office of the Chair and Executive Director, together with the support to operation. Thank you very much, batch number 2. We shall now have batch number 3, Minda Office of the Chair and Executive Director and Support to Operation. Please stand by, batch number 4, Minda Investment, Promotions and International Relations Office, Mindanao Collective Trademark and Performance Management Unit. Thank you very much, batch number 3. We shall now have batch number 4, Minda Investment, Promotions and International Relations Office, Mindanao Collective Trademark and Performance Management Unit. Please stand by, batch number 5, Minda Project Policy Planning and Development Office, together with Human Resource. Thank you very much, batch number 4. Let's now have batch number 5, Minda Project Policy Planning and Development Office, together with Human Resource. Please stand by, batch number 6, Minda Office of Finance and Admin Service. Daghang salamat, batch number 5. Not yet? Thank you very much, batch number 5. Let's now have batch number 6, Minda Office of Finance and Admin Service. Please stand by, batch number 7, Minda Area Management Office and Utilities. Thank you very much, batch number 6. Now let's have batch number 7, Minda Area Management Office and Utilities. Please stand by, batch number 8, Mindanao Local Government Executives. Thank you very much. Next is batch number 8, Mindanao Local Government Executives. Please stand by, diplomatic community. And our last batch for photo op, the diplomatic community. Thank you very much, batch number 8. Now let's have our last batch, the diplomatic community. Thank you very much to our last batch. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for taking your precious time with us. And we really appreciate your presence and as well as everyone's this night. A big round of applause for the President of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. May we request all our guests to please be seated as the president that is leaves the hall. Once again, we're requesting our guests to please be seated as the president leaves the hall. Thank you very much. Once again, daghang salamat sa among pinangga na presidente. Mabuhay po kayo.